Because we plan on traveling 365 days of the year in branded hotels with maybe one or two exceptions, it's going to be very straightforward to actually reach the top elite tier of all four of those programs. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. And we are in the Sheraton Manila in the suite. This is checkout day. Sunday's our designated checkout day, and this is when we pack up our bag and we move to the next hotel. You know, I've never done loyalty programs. I've never been into it. I've never been a points guy, you know, so I'm going to become a points guy. I'm going to try to figure out if I can retire to hotel suites and also travel the world in hotel suites. And Marriott Bonvoy happens to be the first program that we're going to use, and then we're going to get into other programs if that one works out. So this is a kind of behind the scenes look at the strategy. Yeah, so let's just start with the basics. So why Bonvoy? Well, Bonvoy, I happen to have 30 days. So we happen to build up 30 days there. So it was logical just to keep going with Bonvoy as we start our international journey. The plan is to stick to Bonvoy until we get to Ambassador. That means we're going to have to get to 100 nights within one calendar year and 23,000 US dollars. So that's a lot of money and that's a lot of nights. And it wouldn't work for most people, but since we're retired and we're full-time travelers and we don't have to fly home to our house, we're not maintaining any infrastructure back home. We don't have one at the moment. We're investing in Bonvoy loyalty program to get started and get the benefits of bonuses, higher accumulation rates, free suite upgrades, and all the benefits that you get from Bonvoy. And we'll do that through the end of calendar 2025, and then we might start to get into other programs if all goes well, so that we have a globally diversified set of hotel loyalty programs like IHG, Hyatt, and Hilton. And because we plan on traveling 365 days of the year in branded hotels with maybe one or two exceptions, it's going to be very straightforward to actually reach the top elite tier of all four of those programs. And that will allow us to reduce our net cost, because upfront cost is going to be high because we didn't bank a lot of free nights or a lot of upgrades or points while we were working. We didn't do any of this. So we're starting from scratch. So it's going to kind of be expensive at the beginning, you know, $200 a night on average. And then as we get our loyalty programs, our credit cards, our awards, our points, our free stays, then that will multiply and exponentially give us the ability to reduce that per night cost to, I hope, below $100, well below $100. And that's even before you factor in the stuff we get for free, which is the Wi-Fi and a lot of food and drink benefits and other perks. So let's see how it goes. Yeah, so why are we chasing Ambassador? Well, it's just going to organically happen because of the lifestyle we've chosen. And it's really not about being super luxury. It's just about familiarity and comfort. We're coming off of a year and a half of Airbnb where it was the exact opposite. There was no recognition, there was no loyalty. In fact, you're often treated as someone that was tolerated rather than welcomed and embraced and appreciated. It's all about, let's get into some sort of ability to travel internationally, do the stuff we want to do, visit places we want to go to. So what I would have done differently though is while I was still working and my wife was still working, I would have spent a year or two actually getting these hotel loyalty programs preloaded with nights and with free awards by using our daily spend on all of our cost of living just to put it all on something like either a Chase Sapphire, which would allow me to transfer into a hotel program, or actually get the hotel credit cards and start to use those for all of our living expenses. If we'd done that the last 2 years while we're still working and earning and spending, we would have been able to preload this plan and have had a sort of a running start or a warm start. Also, we've got to stop using the third-party booking sites like Expedia and Booking.com, because I made one mistake. I did that one time last year. I booked a long stay in a Marriott. I booked it through Expedia, and then all of a sudden I realized I didn't get the credits in my Bonvoy account. Always get your reservations made through the app, and that way you're guaranteed to get a good price and you're guaranteed to get your points allocated to your account. And right now we're at Platinum, where I've got 60 nights so far this calendar year. And because we'll be going through Southeast Asia and then going through other parts of Asia, we'll be accumulating 100 nights by the end of the calendar year quite easily. So we'll be really taking advantage of our plan to stay in hotels, getting to the ambassador level probably mid-December. And then I'll be able to report back, what do you get for all that loyalty? Is it really any different from, say, lower rungs like 75, I think is diamond, no, titanium? Yeah, 75 is titanium, and people say there's no point in going for ambassador, but we're doing it organically, so we'll find out. So it's kind of a game. It's a fun game because I'm always the winner and never the loser. And it's just a part of the thing you do. And luckily there's lots of tools like ChatGPT I've set up to give me updates when there's changes to these hotel promotion plans, when there's incentives and things that don't come across every day or time sensitive. So I set up ChatGPT, also the apps themselves, the main 4 chains, the Bonvoy, IHG, the Hilton, and the Hyatt. I have all those apps and they will automatically give you updates about when you have opportunities or specials. And I can actually take advantage of those opportunities perhaps more easily than people that are not retired and are not nomadic. Now I'm going to get the hotel credit cards in order to get more multiplier. So get like 10, 15, 17x points multipliers when I pay with the branded hotel credit card. So I'm signing up for those. I don't have any yet, but I'm going to get all 4 of those program credit cards probably, just to make it such that I really maximize the benefit and only use those credit cards to make hotel payments at those hotel chains, to really make the payment methods help me the most and give me the most bang for the buck. It's a rainy day. I don't care. How do I get upgrades to suites? Well, I asked ChatGPT, who's been incredibly helpful, and I call her she because whenever I use the audio mode, it's a voice, but ChatGPT advised a few things and it kind of worked out. First was to make your booking at a regular rate, or maybe a little bit higher, but below the rate that you would pay for a suite. So I've done that twice in a row. And the mistake I made was my first booking, I didn't ask for an upgrade. They're supposed to give you an upgrade, something that can just be a higher floor, or they think it's access to the lounge. I've already got access to the lounge because I'm Platinum, so you have to ask to get. So the first time I stayed in the Marriott here in Manila, I forgot to ask for an upgrade. It's a lovely hotel, lovely big room, no complaints. That was a mistake not to ask. The second one, according to ChatGPT, is when they send you a reminder that, oh, sir, you're checking in tomorrow, what I do is I reply to all and I say, thanks for the reminder, and I'll be arriving tomorrow. I'd like to politely request if there's an available suite upgrade, something like that. I'll put the blurb on the screen. So basically ChatGPT gave me a blurb to use with the hotel, and I used that for this hotel, this Sheraton in Manila. And they got back to me about 2 hours after I sent them that message to say, we're delighted to confirm your upgrade to a suite, sir. So that worked out. And that was an important thing. I just did it again. I'm going today to move to the Westin in the main part of Manila, downtown. And I did the same thing, except this time, ChatGPT also advised, after you send your message the day ahead to the email, which I did, same request, they gave me a neutral response saying, well, we're not sure, but we'll make every effort when you get here to get you an upgrade. So they were non-committal, but they were very polite. So that was a good start. And then this morning, when I hadn't heard anything more about confirmation, I went into the Bonvoy app and I used the chat feature to sort of send an abbreviated reminder. Hey guys, I'm arriving later today. Just wanted to see if you've been able to do anything about my upgrade. Very nice, very respectful. That was the app. They initially came back and said, same neutral response, oh, thank you for your inquiry. We're trying very hard to get you an upgrade. Put you on top priority once you get here. And then shortly after that, they actually gave me a confirmation that I would be getting an upgrade. So I'm 2 for 2, thanks to ChatGPT. In addition to booking a room that's just below the suite level, and in addition to sending these pre-arrival messages and email and chat, what I'm also doing is I'm intentionally checking in on a Sunday, because on a Sunday, that's when most of your clients leave. There's no business people there, and they know how many suites will be available for the coming week. I'm also limiting my stays to 7 days, because 7 days they can kind of lock into a suite. If I want to stay for 2 or 3 weeks, they might have heartburn giving me a high value suite for 3 weeks. So starting off slow. So far I'm 2 for 2, even though I've screwed up on the first week. Weeks 2 and 3 are going to be suite life. And what I'm also doing in this early part of the journey is I'm in Asia for the next year or so. I'll probably spend 75% of my time in Asia. And one of the reasons is I like Asia. Second is it's a lower cost of living than I would have in the States or in Western Europe. But the third is the hotels are bigger, better, and they have built out a higher percentage of suites to room ratio compared to the US and compared to Europe. So it's much easier to get a suite. And whether or not I get a suite, we'll find out. And you can track me on this channel. But I'll let you guys know if my theory works out and if I get the suite upgrades. But just in general, the cost of a high quality, large luxury hotel room in Asia, especially Southeast Asia, is much cheaper than it would be in Western Europe or in North America. And you can just look at some of the examples. If I compare properties in Boston versus Kuala Lumpur, or Boston versus Bangkok, or Boston versus Manila. Now, do you want to be in Kuala Lumpur, Manila, or Bangkok, or Phuket, or anywhere else you want to be? Koh Samui? It's up to you. But I am here by design, and luckily for me, the cost of that lifestyle is much less than it would be if you were trying this in Western Europe or in North America, for example, or Australia. Australasia. So the big question is hotel life going to be impersonal, right? Are you going to just skim along the surface without developing any deep, meaningful relationships? Well, probably. Yeah, probably will be. But it doesn't feel impersonal. Airbnb, that was impersonal. That was impersonal. At least here, I get recognized by name. They know my breakfast order, and they know me at the gym. And if I ever come back, they're going to know me from my previous stays. So, it's not like I'm anonymous. I'm actually a VIP. So, again, is that going to wear off? I don't know. We'll find out. But I was a little bit worried about that impersonal aspect. But as far as I can tell, I feel better. We're only 2 weeks into this journey. 2 weeks in. But I already feel completely different to when I was in Airbnb for the last year and a half. And in the end, it's about how you feel, right? It's about your mental health and your physical health and your spiritual well-being. And just through empirical evidence, I feel great. My wife feels great too. So I'm going to say so far so good. We're only 2 weeks in to a 2-year journey. And I'm pretty happy. So what can I say? So if you've ever dreamed of turning travel into a lifestyle, then this is one way to do it, by using these hotel chain loyalty programs to your advantage, to play the game, to make it affordable by sticking to those 4 brands I mentioned, to make it fit within your budget, and also allow you to travel the world and live in relative luxury. This is what we are trying to do, and this is what we're trying to explain if it can be done and if the hype is real. It's intentional. It's not something you can do in a slapdash way, in an amateurish way. You have to be professional about it. I've got spreadsheets, I've got chat GPT input, I do my own research, I plan, I do forward planning. It's not just something you fall into and you decide day by day where you're going to end up. This is planned out. Yes, it's to maximize our younger years in retirement, our first 10 years, our go-go years. Our concept is to travel the world, do it in style, not be encumbered by having to return to a home base, in our case in America, and make sure all of our stuff is still there. We got rid of all our stuff, so we're completely unencumbered by things, which frees up our mind and also our finances to have experiences that we can remember for years to come as we eventually begin to slow down. And my mission with this channel, Passport to Freedom, is to really talk about that financial independence and to encourage people to think about, do they need to keep working till they're 62, 65, 67, or 70 because they think they need to have that giant buffer, or they just don't know what else to do. Hit like and subscribe if you like this kind of content and you want to follow us along this journey. I'll try to post updates regularly to give you the lessons that I'm learning as we get into this. And I will see you on the next one. Bye-bye.